Hi everybody, I wanted to give you some video feedback. Um, so I'm going to go through these as a first-time site visitor, even though I've been through them, and give you some immediate responses. Okay, Mackenzie, it's super clean, and I love how this overlays this background image without causing any conflict. When I first landed, my first thought is that it was uh, a cosmetic company. So there may be a little bit of narrowing that needs to be done here to let us know exactly that you're a brand strategist. This would be if this may have been an assignment, it may have been a client, in which case probably it would go in your portfolio. Make sure that all of our writing is by us. It's really easy to feel like content is AI when I see buzzwords and things. The transform your brand with data-driven strategy. I will say something, and certainly isn't just you. I think your site is really coming along. But I do want students to remember, I know we use the about paragraphs to measure and work with your AI experience there, but do keep in mind that AI has very specific earmarks, and your instructors know what they are, and probably our clients do too, okay? I'm only going to give you one, and well, let's see, because I'm sure everybody has this in their abouts, and I love this image. It's just really fantastic. I love all of this. Let's see. See, there is enough details in here that even if there were any kind of AI, it would override that. And that's kudos to you. When we see a lot of M dashes, this only has a couple, three maybe, but M dashes are something that AI overuses. So we always want to keep that in mind. Let's see, okay, that's working well. And I do love this too. You give us some specifics, all right? And the only place that makes me wonder is maybe here again we've got, an M dash. But also, let's see, in here feels a little generic. On the one hand, it looks professional, and AI will not make errors. It's not going to make errors with, spelling or grammar, but it will make errors. It will be flawless, but it will not be original. It won't sound authentic and original to the individual or the company. So I just, here's the time for you to learn about that. I know that you've got a lot of experience, Mackenzie, and this isn't something you would do, but I do have a lot of first year students who try and, build a website with AI and not realizing it can do the layout, but not realizing what it's lacking. And so I wouldn't want a student to go into the real world and offer that because, you can do so much better than that and should, okay? But that's the only thing. The color is great. The text is consistent. An omni-channel creative direction agency. One of the things that Steve Jobs says, I'm sure all of you are familiar with, is let's make sure we're speaking to a 10-year-old so that everything we write is really easy to understand. But the only real thing, and I love this image, just love it. The only thing that I really see here, Mackenzie, is this page isn't really, let me see, maybe down here. Yeah, it's all going to the same place. And so there needs to be That's a very small button, but um, I love these images, you know, and so I think they need to perhaps be over here, but all the links are coming to this page. So this is where you want your content to be. Um, if it opened up in a new separate page, that would be different, but they're all coming here, which makes it less common. I would see if you can make that whole button bigger. It's hard to find that clicking. And okay. All right, but you have everything here. You have everything you need, and it's laid out really nice. That's my only thought. Um, you know, maybe what you end up with is either these open up to an individual page, which is kind of a lot, or you have um, some paragraph text that is collapsible, you know, and design that in a way where what you want to say about this is right here next to your examples, because yeah, we've got this in between page. Okay, so maybe I would make this left align also. Maybe we've got you know, this as a collapsible somewhere with that other page. This isn't maybe a template image, it just feels like it, but you need to have your form a little higher on the page so that when they click it, that's exactly what they're receiving. This font is good. It looks really good with this. But this is a little different. Let's see. Maybe it's just the size. All right. So let's check out the mobile. I spend a little more time on this one. I won't be doing that as we move forward. That would be left align. Make sure it's really relevant to you. Center that. Okay, so you have all the details. You probably want to edit this down for mobile for sure, and probably for most people. Okay, so you have an example there. That's good. And yeah, now remember, the more examples and work you put on your page, everybody, you're going to have to work a little harder in week 4 because everything will have to be accessible. Okay. Yeah, keeping it simple and mostly, you know, just the example finished work. You could have a behind the scenes section, a strip with behind the scenes, but let's try not to combine behind the scenes with the actual work too much. All right, so, all right. Just a little bit of organization, that's all. But you've got great material to work with, so that helps. All right, great job. Let's move on, Jonathan. Good, you've got everything in the right order. Probably can close this up a little bit so that we can get into this a little quicker. Okay. Okay. Um, you could go ahead and try and edit this to 2 lines or add a little more there, so it's 3. I like how simple it is, how easy it is to grasp. You know, people don't read our sites, they scan. So that's a good plan there. Okay, nice. Organized. Give us your role, what you did on the film. Nice job. Okay. Nice. Now I'm curious. If I play this, good. Okay, you do want to make it to where the viewer has full control over whether or not the audio plays. You know, there is a setting in your video management, so video manager, where you can make sure that you toggle that. This, I think I would bring this down just a little bit and put perhaps a heading, a little heading that says bio in this text. Bring that down, a little more space here. You could try wrapping that underneath your photo. Okay. This doesn't work very well. What does work is this. Okay. So let's use this throughout, including here. Okay. The only thing I'm not seeing is social media, and I realize you may not have social media, but you do want at least a LinkedIn. If you have mostly videos, you'll probably have a YouTube. Okay, and a lot of videographers get work through Instagram. Okay, just so you know. So let's check out the mobile. Okay, it's good that these match the style. This one doesn't match as much. It's got a grayscale in there, but it's not bad. The icons. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's remove those for sure. Bring that up, all of that up. All right. All right. Really good. You've kept it simple, and you know, it doesn't mean it can't be personable. Your work should be showing that. So, well done. Good job. Okay. All right. Nice work. Let's close that up a little bit. I would left align this. It's easier for people to read when their eye returns to the same location. This background can come out. This background image, you can go to Site Design in your Wix editor. I believe it's right under Pages and Menu, your Site Design, and then Page Background, and you can select a color and just make it black. Yeah, that button has to come out. And that strip, probably. Yeah, that flash of that image in the background will be gone when you do that. You'll want to select that you do it on every page. I'll go ahead and show you that. So let's say I'm in a site I'm going to edit this. I never want to go here. You guys don't want to go there. You don't need to buy a domain. I know it looks like it's the renaming page, but it's not. All right, so let's say I'm in my site design, and let's say I've got an image. That's a video, but let's say I have that. And let's say I apply it to these pages, those pages. All right, so what I'm going to do is, because I already have an image, I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to go to color and probably black or gray, you know, whatever works for your design. Usually black, could be white. And I'm going to go down here where it says apply to other pages, make sure I'm selecting everything, okay? Or you can come up here and say all pages, all right? So that's what you definitely want to do there, okay, through here. All right, okay. And let's see. Not finding the work. So that needs to be added, at least 2. You know, it could be that they're so large they're taking a while to load, but I'm not sure that's the case. That background won't be there. Yeah, okay. All right, so you're putting your primary work, like a sizzle reel, assuming this is all yours, and it is, you're putting that on the home page. So you can then take this page off. Okay, you can call this projects if you want, or just, you know, leave it home, but you can take this off because you're not using it. All right, let's check out the mobile. You know, I don't usually see the headings at the bottom, but that's okay. That's a little refreshing. Not usually, but it's on the same page. So, you know, those narrow strokes of that font can be troublesome. Good job. You are going to put one of your contact social media accounts, a professional account. You're left aligning that, you're taking that out. Okay. So it is showing up here and not showing up on your all right, so if that's a different video, then you'll want to work that out. All right. Okay. All right. Great job. Nice work. Okay. This is beginning to feel very AI, Kyle. Because the director doesn't appear to be you, so, but you do have camera, but director up here. So if you're going to use that, I would say camera up there. Okay. Nice. Okay, so okay. So you're telling them that you're also a DP, so that's your DP work. That's fine. And assuming that this is you, let's rename this. This is an issue with AI. It has put this in here. So let's not call this draft, right, in your approach. This is why it's super important to go through your work. And I hope this is your image because it's strong, really strong. And again, it's got that AI feel to it. Interesting. A little small, but I can read it. A few too many M dashes. You know, again, that's AI, which we encourage you to practice with, but so that you can make your edits and learn how to use it and see where its shortcomings are, and how you can do better in some places than it can. Link up to at least, let's see, okay, take these out. These are linked up. Okay. To me, that felt like it was a little bit of humor, so I hope that was your intent. We do need to work on this width here. Check out your guidelines and make sure that you're within the dotted canvas there. You may have to wrap these because obviously we can't see these. They probably work on your mobile. Do you like this text font? And it is consistent with all your headings. I do like that. It's a template. Okay, let's check out the mobile. You do want to have up here what you do. Use consistent vertical spacing. This is just right. You're telling them you use black magic. What kind of lighting? There's an M dash. Just be careful of, you know, buzzwords. If someone has to ask you what something means, then there's a better way to say it. Okay, so that's clear. If it had just said end-to-end production, we wouldn't know what that meant, but you include everything, the pre-production, and you list it out. It's important. Okay. This looks a little stacked. I would bring that up here. Keep that there. Okay, if this is just you, I would say my story or, you know, story or about, unless you have a company, like already, because it gets confusing. The same is true if someone says, talks about us in as if we're not writing it ourselves when we know that we are writing it ourselves, but it sounds like someone is talking about us. That doesn't come off as, you know, accurate or truthful as far as, you know, the size of our company, for example. All right. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job. Some things need to be worked out. Obviously, you got to remove this. I guess it was on your homepage where you're talking about draft, that kind of thing. Go through, clean this stuff up, and make sure that these are your images. Okay? All right. Coretta, bold. Um, this feels like a link to YouTube or something like that. It's not, but I would be very careful. It feels like a clickable link, and so I'm not sure. I don't think I would use that here. It doesn't quite line up with anything, so I would be careful about that. Probably you want to put it over here if you use it. Okay, so I think we talked about before having, first of all, you're going to need to work on the contrast here. But when we put a menu button and if there's a flyout, that's an added step. And remember, we're always trying to reduce clicking and scrolling. So if I go to the About, it's probably underneath this, but this is what's happening. Okay, so what is happening here is that this image is in your header. So that definitely has to come out. As you can see, the problem is your user won't know that they've changed, pages. I know because I know what you did here, but someone else would be frustrated because they would have to scroll to get to the actual content. Okay. Also, you would have to blur that out, but I would take this out. Just have, something like this all the way across and take that all out. This all has to come up. This comes out, it's a template image or a stock. Okay. So CEO 88 Productions, what is that? And why isn't it up here if it's a logo? All right, if it's a logo, it's going to come up here somewhere and be on every page. Okay, good. Good. Okay, a lot of M dashes here. That tells me AI wrote it. Let's not put anything personal here. Okay, make sure that's a Google voice. It's okay to have your accessibility statement, but by week 4, if you keep it, you'll have to fill this out, and you should. I mean, it's a good thing for you to have. Privacy policy, I don't think you need that right now. It's just going to be a template page on your site, and then you'll lose points, and I would take that out. The accessibility, wait. Okay, this is your accessibility and your privacy policy. They're linked to the reverse. So work on those. Those aren't quite linked up. Okay, let's see, what else? Apparently when I'm on the accessibility statement, because that's a hidden page and it's only linked, you're still going to have to make sure it has a menu available so you can get out of it. Okay, hope that made sense. That's template. Get rid of that. Take this whole strip out. This image is going to come out and you're going to bring that up to where you only have about an inch in your header. Okay, it's not going to to your home. Okay, this is going to your. Okay, all right, and take out placeholder, everything that's placeholder. All right, mainly once you take this image out and you bring this up to a shorter header, you're going to know what you're working with a little easier. All right, we can look at the mobile, but it won't be correct until you make those adjustments. Like this, that should be at the top here. Okay. Once you take out that image on your desktop, it'll really start to shape up a little bit. And then, of course, your logo is going to go on the top. All right, good job. I'm looking forward to seeing this. It's going to look very different next time I take a look at it. Take out these AI icons here too, emojis. Okay, Brett, we're going to close this up. You may have had a plan for a sizzle reel, something short. I was waiting to see if maybe those were big files that weren't loading. Okay, so right now it looks like you've got the about and are working on the others. Double check that so it's not overlapping. Make that one line. Add your social media and add your content and move that. All right, so that's where we are right now this week with your drafts. So make sure you set some time aside to make these adjustments. And I'm really excited to see where they're going to be next week. All right. You will be required to submit a bulleted list with your revised website next week. You can, like I say, you can go into this video and copy the transcript and ask chat to provide a bulleted list for you, or you can just jot those notes down, which might be quicker. All right? All right, everybody. Have a great evening and reach out if you have any questions whatsoever. You're doing great.